Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of prosulum.com and freedomin5minutes.com. And we're here for another Freedom in 5 Minutes episode for the podcast. Today's topic is this: delegate to others for ultimate freedom. That and more coming up. All right, so welcome back. Guess what? This is going to be a very important episode. Why is that, Dean? Why is that very important? Well, because this is going to actually be in the book that's coming out, the Freedom in 5 Minutes book. How is that possible, Dean? How are you able to speak your book like this? Well, let me tell you, which I've talked about in the episode, the person who's doing my book, her name's Tara. She will take what you are speaking, she will go and then edit everything that you're doing and literally turn it into a chapter of a book. Pretty crazy, huh? Pretty awesome. And so what you're listening to right now will actually be in the book. So you're getting a sneak peek of one of the chapters, and I would say the most important chapter in the book. I would appreciate if you went and got it anyway when it does come out, but you're gonna get a lot of value out of this podcast. So here is the problem that I was facing, and a problem that a lot of people who are in business face. And really, it's one of two things. The first thing is being afraid to hire people here in the United States or in Europe or in places where there is a minimum wage, where the wages are high compared to where you can get them if you were to outsource. And the second problem is knowing that there are other options other than having people here. And this might sound very pragmatic. I don't care. This is the way it is. This is the way life is. And if you get offended, I can't help you with that. This is the way that reality works. So for me, I have always been afraid to hire somebody in the United States. And why is that? Well, first and foremost, unless you're hiring somebody on a contractual basis via 1099, someone who's considered a contractor, you're going to be stuck with a number of things. The first thing you're going to be stuck with is a very high wage, right? And so for me, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm profiting enough to hire somebody here. I don't know if I could pay $11 an hour just in wages to somebody, because my business is just, at least at the time, back in the day, my business was just starting to grow. And so immediately, as soon as I'm starting to make some money, boom, now all that money's gone. It's going to an employee. And then on top of that, you have workman's compensation insurance. You have benefits that you have to give via the state or from the federal government. You have the possibility of getting sued by your employee. You have the possibility of all of these different things that really add up to a lot of money in the long run. So someone you're paying $11 an hour to, you're really paying $15 to $20 an hour. And that's if you're lucky. And so the idea, my dog is eating dirt right now, and I don't want her doing that. The idea that you can just simply go and hire, it's not like the old movies or the cartoons that you would see where they would put a help wanted sign. You'd walk in, say, hey, I need a job, and they'd say, okay, it's $3 an hour. Oh yeah, great, perfect. That idea doesn't work. It doesn't work in modern times anymore. It's very, very difficult to hire someone domestically. And on the flip side, when you're hiring someone here, it really does take a specific type of mindset to even hire someone domestically. You have to have good. You have to be good at leading people. Well, people who have never hired anybody aren't going to have that naturally, and I know that I didn't. So back in the day when I was working with a number of other companies, what I would see is they would have a lot of different employees. One company in particular was this Amazon company, this company that sold on Amazon, and they had a number of different employees. And each one of those employees would do anything from administrative work to listing products on Amazon to managing inventory levels and so on. And I would look at this massive operation that was going on. In my mind, it was massive, at least 20 plus people, but I know that in my mind it was massive. But I would look at this and go, there's no way. Like, I could not do this. I could not manage payroll like that. But on the flip side, I had been dabbling for a number of years prior to that, and even at that particular time, with outsourcing overseas, particularly outsourcing overseas into the Philippines. And so with this company, I would see all of this stuff happening. But one thing that I noticed a lot was that people would come and go. They would come and they would work, and they would get used to the job, and the company itself would grow dependent on this person. But then the person would leave. The company didn't have any written documentation, any process documents, or what is called standard operating procedures, and they would be up a creek, because now they had to find 1, 2, 3, 4 people to do that one person's job, and hopefully they knew how to do it or could figure it out. And if they couldn't, they had to scramble to find some way to put a Band-Aid on the situation. And so as I'm seeing this happening, I'm going, holy crap, that solidifies that I don't want to spend my time and my energy hiring anybody domestically, because that's a nightmare. And then 2, it made me think about what I was doing with my own outsourcing endeavors, my own virtual assistants that I was hiring overseas. Well, I know for me, for most people who hire anybody, one of the problems is that it usually takes 3 to 6 months to even get a person to be at a level where they could be trusted with the particular job responsibilities that they have. For them to that's the way that they've gotten used to the position, they've gotten used to the culture, they've become used to everything. Well, there's a problem in that. What if that one person, whether it's somebody here in the States or overseas, what if that one person is not, after 3 to 6 months, is not really the right person, isn't going to work out? Well, if that's the case, you've literally just wasted 3 to 6 months of your time and a ton of money, and have to start all over again. So another 3 to 6 months with somebody else is going to be required. On top of that, you don't have any documentation, nothing showing, no kind of asset that shows how to do the particular task that you hired that person for in the first place, right? All they did was what you trained them to do, but there was nothing that was created, nothing that was generated that you could keep and use for somebody else. I saw that in my business. I saw that in other people's business. Most people, because here's the deal with any type of process documentation. It sucks to create. It takes a long time, and you don't want to spend time and money creating it because if you have somebody who you're paying even $15 an hour, that's $15 an hour to write documentation, which generally takes forever. So I got to thinking, what if I spent 5 minutes creating a video, and using that video, I could have somebody overseas who I'm paying $9.50 an hour with no other benefits or anything like that. I'm paying a lower cost, and they take that video and then document it with pictures, make it step by step, and now I'm able to use that document to hire other people to do that same thing. Or if that person leaves, I'm not up a creek because I can have someone come in and within a week they could finish that task. Well, this was absolutely revolutionary in my mind. And so I tried it. I learned this concept, by the way, from a mentor of mine named Gonzalo Paternoster, and then saw that it was working. It worked in my business, and then I started offering it to other people. Why is this important? I started offering it to other people with prosulum.com. That's my main business. Started offering it to other people because now you're able to, whomever it might be, you're able to do a 5-minute video and literally delegate that entire task to somebody else, whoever it is, whether they're here or whether they're overseas. I'm walking right now, so if I'm a little winded. The awesomeness of this is that you're never, ever up a creek if someone leaves. And then if you want to hire someone for that position, boom, within a week, they're going to be used to whatever it is, rather than 3 to 6 months. They have step by step. It's very easy to do, and boom, it's done. And then on top of that, the VAs, the virtual assistants that I have at Prosulum, there are no workman's comp. There's no insurance that you need to get. They're lower cost than somebody who's domestic, and they're amazing. I actually have one client who runs a packing company who had their virtual assistant for less than a month, and that virtual assistant was able to take over not only his operations in the United States, but also is leading the majority of his team in Taiwan as well, because she documents all of the processes and then teaches the team in Taiwan how to document all of the processes and to do what the day-to-day operations are. So it's pretty friggin' amazing what was able to happen. So why is this important to making 5-minute decisions? There's really 2 reasons. One, delegating to somebody else allows you to have somebody else do something for you, and typically they're going to do it better. It allows you to get something off your plate, but still get things done. When I delegate to my staff, they are working while I'm doing other things that are important. The second thing is, it shows the power of creating documentation and creating standard operating procedures and how those support you. You have 2 choices in that, really. One is to make the decision to do it, just a quick decision to actually start documenting what you're doing right now. Typically, it's going to take a few hours to document a process. That's just the reality. That's just the way it is. If you're going to do it personally, if you're going to do it yourself, or if you're going to have an employee that you're paying $15 an hour, $20 an hour, or more to do it, it's going to take a few hours. One 5-minute video, if I were to make a 5-minute video and ask you to document that 5-minute video, it'll take you about an hour to do. It'll take you an hour to create, but you'll have pictures, you'll have step-by-step, it'll be fantastic. That 5-minute video will take you 1 hour. So that just cost you a minimum of around $15 an hour for that document. Well, you have the flip side where you could use a service like ProSolum, where you can get a VA for $9.50, at least at the time of writing this. It goes up over time as more and more customers come online. $9.50 with no benefits, you don't have to pay workman's comp, you don't have to pay any insurance or anything like that. You have that person do it, they're trained in it, so they're going to do it faster, so it's going to take about 45 minutes to do, if not quicker, to do the documentation. And now you have a fully documented process, and you have someone who can then do that thing for you from here on to eternity until they pass away or you pass away, right? Hey, no. The dog was just about to run into the road. And so that allows you to then imagine what it would be like if you're like, oh, I need to make this decision. What am I going to do? And you say, hey, Sammy, my virtual assistant. Hey, Sammy, can you go and do process 5.04? Oh, that was a very hard decision, yeah? And can you do it every week? That is the power of this. It allows you to very quickly make those very quick decisions. So this is important because no matter what, you're going to have to delegate at some point in time, whether it's your family, whether it's your work colleagues, whether it is your business, if you have a business. And so what I want you to do is I want you to just imagine, what would it be like if you were able to create a video and show people what you do on a daily basis in your business right now, if you have a business, or in your work, if you have a full-time job. What would it be like if you could just record yourself doing the things that you were doing and then handing it off to somebody else to document, to create actual step-by-step standard operating procedures, and then delegating them to actually do it for you? What would that feel like? What would that feel like? That's what I want you to do for the end of this episode, or for the end of this chapter, since this is going to be in the book. All right, that's your action step. I want you to do that. I want you to feel what that would feel like. You don't have to write anything down or anything like that. Just feel it. Imagine what that would actually feel like to be able to quickly delegate based off of that. All right, so this is Dean Soto with freedomin5minutes.com. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com. Sign up. Get your 7 free episodes, secret episodes, totally raw. You never, ever, 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 ever will see them outside of that community. All right, so go check those out. And I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.